So this is it, Warzone is officially live, and what better way to break in the new game than a top 10 beginner tips for you guys to start beasting in Call of Duty Warzone. If you're new to the channel, what's up? My name is Loochy, and here we cover a lot of FPS games. I'm a very avid FPS player, but the main focus of this channel going forward is going to be Call of Duty Warzone. So if at any point in today's video you like the content, you learned something, you gained some type of value, consider hitting the like rating on the video and also consider becoming a subscriber so you don't miss any future Warzone content. With all of that being said and out of the way, let's jump right in with tip number 1. Picking your landing spot and the jumping mechanic out of the plane. Now to be honest, after about 6 or 7 hours of gameplay, I've kind of decided that it really doesn't matter where you land because you're gonna get loot regardless. So picking your landing spot really just comes down to what areas of the map you want to explore personally, and if you want to have a hot drop or a drop that's a little bit further away from players so you don't have to get into immediate gunfights. If you are someone who is brand new to Battle Royales, I recommend landing as far away from other people as you can, just so you can actually get the feel for the mechanics of the game without stressing about being under pressure from better players. And if you're someone who is more experienced with Battle Royales and shooters, a hot drop might just be the action you're looking for, considering there are 150 players on this Battle Royale map, making it the biggest Battle Royale player count that we've ever seen to date. When it comes to actually dropping out of the plane though, how do you get to where you want to go the fastest? Well, the diving mechanic in Warzone is very similar to Fortnite, where you can constantly cut your parachute and then redeploy it over and over again, basically as many times as you like until you hit your landing. When you first jump out of the plane, you will have a lot of downward momentum, meaning your body is going to want to spiral directly pretty much down towards the earth and not really go in the direction you're facing. Initially, I feel like this is going to leave a lot of players confused as to how in the hell they're supposed to get to very far distances. What you're going to want to do is almost immediately or pretty soon after you jump out of the plane, you're going to want to pull your chute for the first time. What this is going to do, it's going to give you some horizontal momentum in the direction that you're facing and the direction that you want to go. Now that you have some horizontal momentum in the direction you want to go, cut your chute so you can actually start gaining some speed by freediving again. This is sort of the delicate process you're going to have to repeat if you want to reach those faraway spots. It's a pretty simple idea overall, and I think you'll get the hang of it just fine with some practice, but remember, it's very similar to Fortnite's dropping system, so if you've played that game and you've done well with it, you'll probably learn it pretty quickly, I'd say. Tip number 2 is going to become very apparent to most people as you continue to play the game, but cash is king. Yes, you need to be looking for cash at all times and stockpiling it as much as you can throughout every match. Cash can be found all over the map, randomly on floor loot, inside of chests, and by completing contracts. A big reason why cash is so crucial is because it's going to be the only way to revive your teammates if when they get sent to the gulag, they die and can't respawn themselves, and we'll talk more on the gulag later. Besides respawning your teammates, cash is a crucial element of the game where you can purchase things from buy stations that are littered all over the map. You can tell where a buy station is by the shopping cart icon that's on the minimap or the major map when you zoom in, and these buy stations are filled with awesome stuff to help give you and your team an advantage going throughout the game. You can buy additional armor plates, you can buy UAVs, you can buy precision airstrikes, and this is also the place where you're going to be able to revive your teammate should you have enough cash for it. One thing to keep in mind is you can drop everything in this game: ammunition, armor plates, and yes, even cash. So basically your team has a living, breathing economy that can be traded and dropped as needed. Do each of you have $3,000 but it costs $4,500 to resurrect your dead teammate? Combine your cash and get your teammate back. The cash system is super fun. I love it. It feels rewarding being able to stockpile cash and then get a big payout when you hit one of these buy stations. But one of the most important features of the buy station is something I haven't mentioned yet, and that's going to bring us directly into tip number 3. Custom loadouts. Yes, you heard me. Your custom loadouts from multiplayer carry over into Warzone. Now, the only way to access your custom loadouts in Warzone is to purchase a $6,000 loadout drop from a buy station. These loadout crates will also drop throughout the match, randomly located between teams. So keep an eye out for the loadout crate icon on your map or mini-map, but be aware, if you go for one of the randomly spawned ones on the map, you're probably going to run into an enemy team. These loadout crates are great because obviously you can bring the exact class you want into Warzone that fits your playstyle, rather than relying on the floor loot and loot from chests that you're going to find throughout the map. Now don't get me wrong, the loot that is on the map does more than a good enough job to win games. You can find plenty of loot that'll fit any playstyle: assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, sniper rifles, etc. But the one caveat to this is the loot you find around the map you don't get to pick the attachments on it. However you find that gun is exactly how that gun is going to stay until the game's over. This is why loadout drops are so crucial, and it's honestly going to become the meta going forward in Warzone to just get a loadout drop as fast as you can. On top of all of this, loadout drops are going to be the only way you have access to perks in the game. By accessing a loadout drop and picking your preferred loadout, you also get access to all of the perks that come with that loadout, whatever it is, Ghost, Overkill, Cold-Blooded, etc. So with that being said, you can start to understand why loadout drops are such a big deal. Having perks in a game like Warzone is going to give you a great advantage over enemy players. You'll be able to rock perks like Ghost to stay off the UAVs of enemy players. Cold-Blooded will be great so you can avoid being in the thermal scopes of an enemy player. There are really just too many benefits of having perks in a game like Warzone to list. At least not all in this video, so keep an eye out because we got that video coming down the pipeline. Moving on to tip number 4, let's talk about the health and armor system in Warzone. This is one of the first battle royales that I've seen that doesn't include a bandage or medkit system in any way. Your health automatically regenerates like it would in normal Call of Duty matches, which is a pretty refreshing thing to see because it's so different. So more of what we're going to focus on here is the armor system. By default, with no armor, your character will have 100 hit points, and with full armor, 3 plates, you will have 250 hit points. You can carry up to 5 spare armor plates in your inventory at any time, and you can also buy a full stack of armor plates from any of the buy stations located around the map for $1,500. Again, armor is super crucial. Armor is the lifeblood of surviving in Warzone. That 150 extra hit points from having a full stack of armor is invaluable. Now that being said, having a full set of armor doesn't also make you invincible. You'll still die pretty quick, especially if you get caught out in the open, so be careful regardless of how much armor you have. Similar to Apex Legends and Fortnite, when you break someone's armor, you'll know by seeing a blue cracked armor icon pretty much right over their character model. In addition to that, you'll also be given an auditory signal just letting you kinda know by your ears that it's broken. Like I said before, and I'm going to repeat it here, you can drop almost everything for your teammates and share with your team. So if your team needs armor plates, you can drop those if you have them. The one thing armor doesn't protect though is your head. And that's going to lead us directly into tip number 5. Headshots, headshots, headshots are king in Warzone. Since armor doesn't affect your head in Warzone, headshots are crucial to bringing down enemy players fast and efficiently. Just to add to that, the headshot multiplier is increased in Warzone as well, so you can really start to see the importance of shooting for the head. Mixing in a couple headshots with your body shots might just be the difference in an even fight, whether you get the kill or you're the one being sent to the gulag. So aim for the head and you'll be much better off for it. One last little tip about headshots is all of these sniper rifles in the game have the ability to one-tap somebody if you hit them in the head. So if you're a sniper, aim for the head. Tip number 6 isn't as crucial, but it's saved my ass in a lot of situations in Warzone so far, and that is buy a gas mask if you have the money available. What this gas mask does is enables you to be in the storm without taking damage for a certain amount of time until the gas mask breaks. This can be super helpful in late game situations where the storm circle is very small and maybe you want to make a crazy flank through the storm, something they're not going to be expecting. You can only do that with a gas mask. Maybe the enemy team has you pinned in a certain building and the only exit that's safe is going back out into the storm. If you have a gas mask, that can buy you some serious time and keep you alive to win the game. Tip number 7, stick with your team, or at least close by. I know, it seems obvious, but you'd think that people would learn by now, especially seeing all the battle royales we've played up to this point. Warzone is not Fortnite. You don't have the build mechanic to save you if you get caught by yourself and buy your teammates some time to get to you. The chances are, if you get caught by yourself in Warzone by a full team, you're probably gonna die unless you pull off some magical stuff. You can die pretty quickly in Warzone, which also gives you the benefit of the doubt to make a 1v3 situation possible, but your chances are very low. Sticking by your team in Warzone, just like any other battle royale, is going to net you the best positive results. Tip number 8 is to use and get used to the ping system in Warzone. The pinging system acts very similarly to how you've played with other ping systems with Fortnite, Apex Legends, and PUBG in the past. You can ping locations, items for your teammates to pick up, and enemies in the distance, all using the ping system. There's really nothing too crazy here with Warzone's ping system, and if you've used one before, you'll be just fine using this one. One thing I do want to give Warzone credit for though is when you ping enemy players, it's not just a location on the map. If you have visual sight on the enemy and you ping them, the red dot is going to follow that player for a short amount of time, similar to how Battlefield pings their players. It's a great addition to the game, and it rewards players who are a little more accurate and thoughtful in how they're pinging the enemy teams. Tip number 9 is to use the vehicles that are available to you on the map, but use them carefully. The vehicles on the Warzone map are probably a much needed addition, seeing how gigantic this map really is. There are ATVs, trucks, these dune buggy things, even helicopters for you to travel with. And all of these vehicles can make the difference whether you get out of the storm or not. But you need to be aware that you show up as a red vehicle coming through the minimap if you're anywhere near an enemy team. You will also be extremely loud in whatever vehicle you're in, letting everybody around you know that you're on your way. So while I do think the vehicles are very useful to get away from the storm very fast or make a quick rotation in emergency situations, I think it's best if you use them quickly but don't abuse them. Do whatever you gotta do with them and then get out, because people are gonna know exactly where you are if you hang around for too long. And the final tip, tip number 10, is don't be afraid to get into fights. There are so many ways to respawn and get your other teammates respawned into the map in Warzone, so getting into a fight is not as damaging as it used to be. It's not the end of the world if you die. You got a couple more chances. And at the end of the day, and this goes for any game, getting into as many fights as possible, especially this early on in a game's release, is just going to make you a better player in the long run. You need to learn the mechanics of the game, you need to get the look and feel and sounds of the game, and really understand how it feels to get in these gunfights. Shying away from any battle just to make it to the end and hopefully camp your way into a win is not going to improve you as a player. You're way more likely to develop bad habits because you don't know what to do when the going gets tough. That doesn't mean you should just be reckless about it. There's always a good time and a bad time to engage an enemy team, but if you actually want to improve and become a really well-rounded player in all aspects of the game, storm rotation, killing and fighting enemies, you need to actually get into these fights so you understand how to handle the pressure when things get tough. Well, that's going to do it for my top 10 beginner tips for Call of Duty Warzone. If you liked any of the tips and any of this video helped you today or brought you any type of value, please hit that subscribe button with the bell turned on so you don't miss any of the Warzone content that is coming very soon. Drop a like rating if you enjoyed today's video and a dislike if you didn't, and let me know why. Let me know what tips maybe you think could be better suited for beginner players in Warzone. I would absolutely love to have that conversation with you guys down in the comments below. That's gonna do it for me. As always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
Definitely in here.
Putting a claymore outside this door.
Can I drop the sniper for something? Oh.
Gas is moving.
Yeah.
Is this a rotating circle? They're gonna come out that. I'm gonna let them hit the claymore. I'll just watch this door. They just set one, or was that you?
That was me.
That one on the first floor?
Here, he's on the first floor again. Dead.
Okay. Other guy has self-res. He's gonna die in the storm, I think.
Checking behind us real quick, just in case. There's nobody. He's out. He's dead.
Let's go, baby.
Let's fucking go, baby!